Good day everyone. For today's video, let's solve some calculus. There are four parts in this video. The first part is the implicit differentiation, which we're gonna solve some problem in the implicit. And the second part is the higher order derivatives and find the second derivatives of the problem. And the third part is the maxima and minima. And the fourth part is the time rates. First, let's talk about the implicit differentiation. We have this given tan y equals to cosine of x and find the dy over dx. In this problem, we're gonna use some trigonometric identities. So the solution is, in solving this problem, note that tan of theta is equal to sine of theta over cosine of theta, which means that the tan y is equal to sine of y over cosine of y. So let's substitute the sine y over cosine of y in the tan y. So after that, let's distribute the d over dx in this equation. We have this d over dx, quantity of sine of y over cosine of y, equals d over dx, quantity of cosine of x. So first, we're gonna find the derivatives of sine y over cosine of y with respect to x. In this equation, we're gonna use the quotient rule, which has the formula of v times the derivative of u minus u times the derivative of b all over v squared. First, let's gonna list down the value of u and the value of v. We have the u, which is sine y, and the derivative of u is, with respect to x, is equals to the dy over dx of cosine of y. And we have the value of v, which is cosine of y, and the derivative of v is equals to negative dy over dx sine of y. After that, we're gonna substitute those value in the formula that is given to us, which is, first is the v, which is the cosine of y. After that, times the derivative of u, which is the dy over dx cosine of y, minus the value of u, which is the sine y, times the derivative of v, which is negative dy over dx sine of y, and then all over v, which is the cosine of y squared. After that, we're gonna simplify it all. We have the dy over dx cosine squared of y plus dy over dx sine squared y all over cosine squared of y. After finding the derivative of sine of y over cosine of y, which is the dy over dx cosine squared plus dy over dx sine squared of y all over cosine squared of y, we're gonna also find the derivative of cosine of x. So the d over dx times cosine of x. Remember that the derivative of cosine is cosine u is equals to negative sine u times the derivative of u. Since the value of u is x, then the derivative of x is just 1. So we come up with the negative sine x, which is the derivative of cosine of x. We're gonna put some circle on that. After after na-solve na nato ang both derivatives sa both sides sa equation, so we're gonna copy derivative. So we have the dy over dx cosine squared of y plus dy over dx sine squared of y all over cosine squared of y equals negative sine of y. After ana, atong i-multiply both so that ang wala na yung mabili nga denominator sa left side sa equation. Ato na yung gamitan og multiplication property of equality. Multiply both sides with cosine squared of y so that after that na ning makancel na ang cosine squared of y diri sa dy over dx cosine squared of y plus dy over dx sin y all over cosine squared of y. Makancel na, so we have the dy over dx cosine squared y plus dy over dx sin squared of y. Then copy the negative sin x times cosine squared of y. After ana, i-factor out ang dy over dx. So we have this cosine dy over dx quantity of cosine squared of y plus sine squared of y equals to negative sin x cosine squared of y. After ana, note na to nga gamitan nato ni trigonometric identity, which is that the cosine squared of theta plus sine squared of theta is equal to 1. Then same gyapon sila nga ang cosine of y plus cosine squared of y plus sine squared of y is equal to 1. Then substitute na lang nato ng 1 dito sa cosine squared of y plus sine squared of y. So we have the dy over dx times 1 is equal to negative sin x cosine squared of y. Since 1 na naman siya, so have the answer of dy over dx equals to negative sin x cosine squared of y. So put some box on it for the final answer. So let's proceed to the higher order derivatives. We have this problem which is find the second derivative of y equals to e raised to x times x raised to 4. In finding the second derivative, first we're gonna find its first derivative. So in finding the first derivative, we're gonna use the product rule, which is u times derivative of b plus v times derivative of u. So let's list down the value of u and the value of v, which is the value of u ay x raised to x e raised to x, and the value of v is equal to x raised to 4. And after ang derivative sa u is still e raised to x, because note that e raised to u is the derivative of e raised to u is that copy the e and the u and times the derivative of u, which is ang derivative sa x kay still 1. So mora gyapon nga e raised to x ang derivative sa u. And finding the derivative sa v is that we're gonna use the power rule nga bring down ang exponent, which is 4, and then minus mo og 1 ang exponent sa x. So we have the derivative of v, which is 4x cubed. After substitute na nato ang values sa u, v, derivative of u, and dv dito sa product rule. And we have this una ang u, which is e raised to x, times the derivative of v, which is 4x cubed, plus the v, which is 4x raised to 4, and the derivative of u, which is e raised to x. So multiply those. So we have the first derivative of x, which is e raised to x 4x cubed plus e raised to x raised to 4. After that, kuha na natong first derivative. So we gonna find the second derivative. maura gyapon ang proceed ning gamitan nato product rule ang matag term. Remember nato na ang e raised to x times x raised to 4 kay same rasilyag na derive na baya nato na una, which is e raised to x 4x cubed plus e raised to x x raised to 4. So, ang ato na lang i-derive diri ang e raised to x 4x cubed. So, same ra gyapon siya gamitan nato og product rule, which is una, find gyapon nato ang value sa u, v, derivative of u, and derivative of v. So, list down nato na, which is ang u is equal to e raised to x, and the v is 4x cubed, and the derivative of u is still e raised to x, and the derivative of v is 12x squared, which is nakuha nato siya sa pag times sa 4 og 3, then ang exponent minusan og 1. After nato na list down ang tanan ng mga values, then we're gonna substitute it on the formula that is given to us, which is ang u is first is the u, so we substitute the e raised to x on the u, then times the derivative of v, which is 12x squared, then plus, which is plus v, which is 4x cubed, then the derivative of u is still e raised to x. Then after that, multiply, so we have the e raised to x 12x squared plus e raised to x 4x cubed. So that is the derivative of e raised to x 4x cubed. After that, na-find na to ang duha ka derivative dito sa first derivative. So, ang kuha na lang nato na buhaton is i-copy na lang nato na sila, i-substitute na lang nato na sila sa derivative. Ang una na itong i-substitute, di ba? Ang derivative sa e raised to x 4x cubed is equal to e raised to x 12x squared plus e raised to x 4x cubed. So, maawang itong iuna sulat. Then, after na, so, di ba nakakuha na punta og derivative sa e raised to x. So, ilist na nato sila tanan, which is the second derivative is equal to e raised to x 12x squared plus e raised to x 4x cubed plus e raised to x 4x cubed plus e raised to x 4x raised to 4. So we're gonna put box on it, so that is the final answer in this question. So let's proceed on the maxima minima. We have this problem, which is a poster is to contain 300 centimeters squared of printed matter with margin of 10 centimeter at the top and the bottom and 5 centimeter on each side. Find the overall dimension if the total area of the poster is minimum. So first, in solving the maxima and minima, first we're gonna draw the figure that is in the problem that is given to us. So, ang first is ang poster daw nasa 300 cm squared nga area. Mao na ang nakapatunga siya, nakapasulod ng colored na side. Then, ang each side naa siya margins, which is sa top and bottom have 15 cm. And then, ang each side have the 5 cm. So, ang atong pangitaon ani is ang total area sa with margins siya. So, remember that ang ato na ning levelan ang value sa side sa printed matter. So, ang sa width niya, we have the x, then ang sa length niya is we have the y. Then, sa pag-add, para find the overall, we're gonna add the x and the both sides which have 5 on each side. So we have 10. Then makuha na siya nga ang width niya is mahimo na siyang x plus 10. Same ra gyapon sa length niya, which is ang iyang top and bottom. I-label na to ang length, which it has the both margins of 10. Then i-add doon ang 10, we have 20. Then ang length niya is gonna equal to y plus 20. So we have the length and the width. So let A is equal to total area of all, tanan both pati ang margins. Then A sub P, which is the area of the picture. So first we're gonna substitute the value of length and width, because diba in a rectangle the formula of an area is length times width. So we have the value of length, which is y plus 20. Then the value of width is equal to x plus 10. So we're gonna multiply both terms. So we have the area of x y plus 20x plus 10y plus 200. So we're gonna label it number 1, because we kay gamitan pa naon to na in the next procedure. So in the next process is we're gonna find the value of y using the area of the picture. So ang total area sa the picture is 300 centimeter square. So remember nga, ang to come up in this area is that i-multiply lang ang both side, which is ang x and y. Then ang substitute na to na a sub p, substitutean na to og 300. Then so makakamot tayo 300 is equal to x and xy. Then divide both side with x, so that ang mabili na lang niya is ang y. Then so that ang makuha na to, ang value sa nato sa y is equal to 300 over x. So ginalabel it number 2. After i-substitute na to ang value sa y dito sa first na to nga equation nga na buhat. So ang una na to nga equation, ang number 1 is a equals to xy plus 20x plus 10y plus 200. So i-substitute na to ang value of y, which is ang 300 over x. So we have this a equals to x times 300 over x plus 20x plus 10 times quantity of 300 over x plus 200. So simplify it. So simplify na to na. So we have the 300 plus 20x plus 3000 over x plus 200. Then i-add both term na 300 of 200. So we have the area of a equals to 500 plus 20x plus 3000 over x. After i-derive na to with respect to x. So derivative of a over x equals to 500 plus 20x plus 3000 over x. So i-derive na to sa isa niya sila. So ang derivative sa 500, which is 0, then ang derivative sa 20x is just 20. Then ang diri sa 3000 over x, ay gonna use the power rule nga ang x niya is magkuha na siya o exponent of negative 1. So minusan nimo og 1 ang negative 1, then multiply nimo og negative 1 ang 3000. So we have the derivative of a over dA over dx equals to 20 minus 3,000 over x squared. So after that, equal na to ni silag 0 ang 20 minus 3,000 over x squared. After na, i-transpose na to ang 20, transfer na to dito sa 0. So we have this 3,000 over x squared equals to 20. Gidirect na ako na kay man-negative man gyapon ng 20 dito sa pikas. So multiply na ako both negative. So we have the positive na answer. After that, i-multiply na to na sub og since dili man ta maka since kuha na to ni wala na to ang denominator sa isa ka side, which is ang x squared. So i-multiply na to both side para makancel ng x squared diri sa 3,000 over x squared. Then after i-multiply na to, makancel na ang x squared diri sa 3,000 over x squared. So we have the 3,000, then multiplyan po na to ang 20 of x squared. We have 20 x squared. After is i-divide both side with 20 so that ang mabili na lang is ang x squared sa isa ka side. So mahimo na siya nga after makancel na ang 20, then ang mabili na lang ang x squared, tapos ang i-divide mo ng 20 sa 3,000, mahimo na siyang 150. After na, i-square root na to both sides so that makancel na ang squared sa x. Then, so we have the value of x of approximately 12.24. So, igamit to na sub na to ng value of x. So, next step is to substitute the value of x in the 2 dito sa value of y. Since ang value of y is equal to 300 over x, so substitute na to ang value of x, which is 12.24 dira sa denominator niya. So we have the y over 300 over 12.24. So divide na to, we have the value of y of 24.5. After nanatay value of x, true value of x, and value of y. Then substitute na to na ang value of x and y dito sa first na to nga ning equation, which is the area equals to x plus 10 quantity of y plus 20. So substitute na to ang value of x and y. So we have the 12.24 plus 10 times 24.5 plus 20. So add na to ang 12.24 og 10. So we have the 24.4, and the add na po na to ang 24.5 og 20. So we have 44.5. Then mao na ang answer na ang area niya is 22.24 cm by 44.5 cm, and mao na ang total niya value sa area dito sa overall dimensions niya. So we're gonna put a box on it so that it is the final answer. So let's proceed in the time rates. So we have a problem of a man walk across a bridge at the rate of 5 fps as a boat passes directly beneath him at 10 fps. If the bridge is 10 feet above the boat, then how fast are the man and the boat separating in 1 second later? First, we're gonna draw the diagram that what is the problem. So makita nato diri sa diagram nga ang kuan nila is that both sila na pass directly, then naay tao dito sa taas sa bridge nga nagawalk siya with a rate of 5 fps, and then ang boat nga naglabay po sa bridge which is the 10 fps. Then ang ilang kalagyon sa height nila is ang 10 feet. So we're gonna find the ning kung unsa gid sila kapaspas nga mag-separate within 1 second after. So ang solution is that s squared equals to 10t squared plus quantity of 5t squared plus 10 squared. Then we're gonna find the after is simplify na to ang given value. So i-multiply na to ang square na to ang 10t. So we have the 100t squared plus the square of 5t is 25t. So we have i-add na to ang 125. So we have 125t squared. Then ang square of 10 which is 100. So after that, nakakuha na to ang s squared plus s squared is equal to 125t squared plus 100. After i-derive na to with respect to time. So we have multiply both side with d over dt. So we have this d over dt quantity of s squared equals to d over dt quantity of 125t squared plus 100. So derive na to na sila with respect to time. So since with respect to time maning sa s squared, so we have the derivative of 2s ds over dt. Then ang derivative po there is 125t squared plus 100 is just the 2 times 125t. Since ang 100 naman ang 100 is constant, so direct 0 na siya. Then ang 125t squared is gamitan na to power rule. So we have 2 times 125t. Then times multiply na to ng 2 and 125. So we have 250t. Then after makuha na to ang 2s ds over dt equals to 250t. Divide na to both side with 2s so that ang mabili na lang sa left side is ang ds over dt. So after na to divide both side, makancel na ang 2s, then maka-come up na taaning ds over dt equals to 250t over 2s. So label na to na siya as number 1. So after atong butan o di ba ang nakakuan dito is maglabay sila with kung sa ilang distance within a second. So ibutan na to ang sa time is equal to 1 second. So i-substitute na to ng 1 dito sa una na to na solve, which is ang s squared plus equals to 100t squared plus 100. So i-substitute na to ang value of t. So we have the s squared equals to 125 quantity of 1 squared plus 100. So i-simplify nato na siya. Still we have the value of s squared equals to 225. So we're gonna find the value of s. So i-square root nato ni sila. Square root both side. So makancel na ang squared diri sa s. Then mabili na lang square root na to ang 225. So we have the square root of 225 which is 15. So that the value of s is equal to 15. Then after i-substitute na to ang s value sa s dito sa number 1, which is ang ds over dt equals to 250 t over 2s. Since naa na naman tayo time nga 1, then ang s niya is 15. So, substitute na lang nato na dito sa katong equation. So, we have the ds over dt equals to 250 times 1 over 2 times 15. So, simplify nato na sila. Times nato ng 2 times 15 equals to 30. Then, 250 divided by 30 is equal to 8.33. Then, butangan na to og unit, which is ang FPS. Then, put a box around it. So, that is the final answer. So, thank you.